Have you ever heard that quote, readers lead and leaders read? Well, I think that's totally true, but I think we could actually expand it and say learners lead and leaders learn. And that's what this episode is all about. Hi everybody, I'm Michelle Carre and welcome to Your Delicious Life, where each week we take a look at life from a different perspective and we either learn something new or get reminded of something that we already knew. This week's episode is called Leaders Learn. Now, we start learning literally from day one of our lives. It starts with looking at your parents and watching them, and it continues that way until we learn how to communicate and learn how to read. And then we get into a school environment and we learn from exercises, we learn from our peers, we learn from multiple different places. But after we get out of school, sometimes our learning starts to go by the wayside. But really, if we want to lead others in our lives and we want to have an incredible life, learning is something that we never want to stop doing, something we always want to do. When it comes to learning, we usually think about reading as our way of learning, or doing exercises, or writing papers, the stuff that we did in school. But there are so many different ways to learn, and thanks to technology, that list is even longer. I mean, we can of course learn from watching and having conversations with mentors, but we can also learn from watching videos on YouTube, or watching a TED Talk, or listening to a podcast or an audiobook. The ways that we can learn are endless, and literally they are at our fingertips. So it's just a matter of making it happen. We all have busy schedules, so adding one more thing into the schedule like learning can seem like a big challenge. But there are some really cool ways that we can add it into our lives. The bottom line though is we have to be deliberate about it. So one example is to maybe get up a few minutes earlier. If you're a morning person and you enjoy that quiet, maybe getting up a few minutes earlier, make your cup of coffee, and enjoy a few minutes of reading just by yourself is a great way to get some learning in. Now, if that's not something that would work for you, chances are you're probably going to get ready for your day. Well, this can be a great opportunity to learn. You can throw on a video, a TED Talk, even a podcast or an audiobook, and play it from your phone right in your bathroom while you're doing your hair and makeup. Podcasts and audiobooks are also awesome for the car. If you have any kind of a job where you drive around a lot, or maybe you just have a commute every single day, listening to an audiobook or a podcast is a great way to get that learning in there. And with the apps on our phones, we can search different topics or different people and download these podcasts so they're just constantly playing in the car. And sometimes I'll keep them and then re-listen to them again later. And audiobooks are the same way. I might read the book, but then listen to it again on audiobook just to refresh my memory. But an awesome way to use your time in the car. Another great way to learn is to attend events or classes where you can learn a new skill or brush up on a skill that you have. This week I'm actually attending an event on marketing, so I'll be learning about that. And this is something that I've done lots of learning on. I've taken courses and gone to other events, attended different meetings, and I always find that there's something new to gain from that. So I'm looking forward to going to that. Other events that can be really awesome are ones with speakers or different experts. Maybe you don't necessarily think that that subject is in alignment with you or something that you want to learn about, but I can honestly say that there is always something to be learned at any event. So just exposing yourself to those situations is a great way to learn. And then of course registering for classes. Friends of mine are actually taking sign language classes right now. I mean, how awesome is that? I know for me, It's something that I've always sort of thought about doing, and I learned some basic stuff when I was in elementary school. But what a great thing to just say, hey, I've always wanted to do this, grab a friend, you two are committed to it, nice opportunity to hang out with your friend when you go to these classes, and you're learning something new the whole time. As someone who has an online course to offer, I also strongly believe in online courses. Now, way before I created the one that I have, I took multiple online courses and I loved them because, again, it was an opportunity to learn, but it was a different environment. Instead of going to a physical class or just listening to something, it was interaction on my computer. And often I find with online courses, there's usually some element of interaction built into it. That could be phone calls, it could be Facebook groups, it could be comment areas. Various different opportunities are usually part of the course, and it's a great way to just have an add-on to the learning that you're already doing. But if you're committed to an online course, setting aside 30 or 60 minutes to work on that course every day, maybe every couple of days, is certainly something that's well worth your time. And I'm pretty confident when I say that if you swap out that 60 minutes of TV for 60 minutes of learning, you'll be really pleased with the outcome. Learning allows us to expand our experiences. I mean, we can't experience everything that is out in the world. And quite frankly, we probably wouldn't want to. But what we can do is learn from other people's experiences. And when we have that learning and we gather that knowledge, we can really use that in our own lives, whether it impacts us individually or even just hearing someone else's experience allows us to have more empathy for someone else in our lives, or if that experience and that reading and that learning gives us more tools to lead others in our lives, that is so worth it. I honestly believe that when we stop learning, we stop living. So we have to continue to learn. And there's, like I said, so many different ways to do that. So find the way that works for you. Find a topic or a subject that interests you, and find a way to bring that into your life so that you can continue to learn and continue to elevate and continue to lead those around you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to see you next week for our next episode. As I mentioned, I do have an online course called Create the Life You Envision, and it's open now. The spring session is open. And it's only open until March 18th because with this course, you get the 7 modules, but then we're also going to do 12 calls. And those calls are going to be an opportunity to ask questions, for you to get encouragement if you're falling behind, or just some guidance if you're trying to figure out something. This course is really about helping you get rid of the clutter in your life, get clear about what your definition of success is, and then creating a plan to make it happen. I'd love to have you join me for the course. If you're interested, please go to michellecarre.com and click on the information on the online course, and we'll be happy to see you there. Take care, everyone.